Welcome, guys. I'm glad you're here. I do have an opening statement. How about that football team? Is that not awesome? Man, I'm excited for Dale and his crew. And we kept getting updates the other night during Maroon Madness. And I'll tell you this, when people tell you that I get involved in our athletic program, that's not idle talk. It's the truth. And I was so excited the other night. I told the football players, they said, "How did Maroon Madness go?" And I said, forget Maroon Madness. How about football season? So I'm really excited about it for our guys. And we've got a big game this weekend. And hopefully we can pull through that, come home, win 2 games at home, and head off to the playoffs. So that'd be a great boost for our university and be an even better boost for us to go into our basketball season. I will open it up for comments. I do want to say we're not having a media day in the Missouri Valley Conference. I think that's a great mistake. I think it's ridiculous that we're not meeting together. We are a big-time, mid-major conference, and if we want to be big-time, then you have a media day, period. And that's how I'll handle that.
Coach, I know you've been dealing with some injuries and stuff, but have you been able to get a sense of the team's identity yet?
Yeah, Kelly, I just pulled my hamstring walking up the stairs here. That's how bad it's been around here lately. But let's go through our injury report right now, and I can't because of HEPA, but I can just tell you how long guys will be out. Josh Swan, which we had anticipated would be a starter, will be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Dantil Daniels, at the minimum, will be out for 5 weeks and possibly longer. We did anticipate Dantil as a starter. Right now we've got Diamond Taylor, as you very well know, is serving a suspension. Chase Hines just had surgery this morning and is out a minimum of probably 12 weeks. That's our injury report right now. We're really struggling with having enough guys to practice on the floor. I kid you not, but we're putting Coach McGee on the floor to help us practice just so we can go 5-on-5.
This is an exhibition game. Is it an exhibition? Is it a first type of game for the coaches too? In other words, do you treat it as a normal game as far as preparation, scouting, or I know you can't scout these guys very well, but scouting, things like that? Is it the same thing as with the players?
I have the same. I have the same. I don't know whether you call you Chris or Van Winkle. I don't know what to do here, but I have the same philosophy with exhibition games that I do when my wife and I play checkers. I want to kick her butt. So to me, an exhibition game is another opportunity for you to explain to your kids what you expect, what you want. It's as a play. If you're going to have a play, you always have a run through. If you have a football game, you're going to have a walk through. For us, this is their first opportunity for us to see what we expect out of a coaching staff. We have a routine, and there's someone that in this area that reported that we're fairly organized. I don't know who that might have been, but we are organized to the T. We know exactly what time we want them to be here. We know exactly what time our NBA warm-up will take place. We know when we're going to eat. We know what we're going to have at halftime. We know exactly when we run out of the tunnel. We know how we're going to warm up. We know how we're going to dress. We know how we're going to attack the national anthem. We know how we're going to shake hands. But we go through all of that, and we just talked about it this morning as a staff. We have all of that planned out. Now, there'll be some guys that are nervous. Obviously, we had a lot of guys nervous for Maroon Madness. We had a guy that's 6'9" that couldn't dunk the ball and was scared to death because the lights were on. So it gives us an opportunity to kind of get all those wrinkles out before we play our first game.
Coach, how will you measure progress this season?
It's been a pretty common answer around here. How do you measure progress in anything? Whether it be with your corporation, whether it be as a teacher with a student, whether it be in an athletic program, how do you measure progress in your personal life? Do you get better every day? And I think that's the only thing we've asked for our guys. We've got to find a way to get better every day. And certainly, I've used this analogy, and my athletic director reminded me of it last night. And I don't mean this in a derogative way at all, but we are house training. We're literally going through house training. It's 24/7. Keep our eyes on the guys and train them to everything that we want and what we want to do and what we want to accomplish and how we want to go about it. And I mean 24/7 in everything that we do.
How are they coming along with that, Coach?
We've had good days and we've had bad days. Just like house training. Every once in a while we got a mess we got to clean up. And that's been well documented. But I will tell you this. I don't know if we have a paper towel sponsor, but Bounty paper towels is high on my list right now. We've been cleaning up a lot of messes.
Can you talk more in detail just about the offensive system and defense that you're going to be running this year?
The offensive system we want to play is the one where we put the ball in the hole, and that seems to have been a problem here over the last few years. But we're going to play just like we did at Kansas. Just like we did at Kansas, we're going to play just like we did at Missouri State. You got to give freedom to shooters. You got to give freedom to your guys. Everybody asks me who's going to be your go-to guy. It's one of the 5 guys that's on the floor. I hate that statement. Who's your go-to guy? What happens if you tell the media all year long this is our go-to guy, and then I'll be doggone in the last 10 seconds it ends up in one of the hands of the non-go-to guys, and he's thinking all along, well, coach has never called me a go-to guy, and I don't know what to do. So I don't want that. We just get out of that. Everybody's a go-to guy on our team that's going to be on the floor. You know, and we hope to take that offensive philosophy. Defense, we're going to play the exact same way we did at Missouri State, and we're going to get after people. I don't think that defense is something that is lacking in our guys. When you talk about Coach Aaron, you talk about Bruce Weber and Matt Painter and Chris Lowry. Those are 4 individuals right there that knew what they were doing as a defensive-minded staff and did a great job. Now, I know our numbers didn't show that last year, and for whatever reason, but we hope to get better, not only in our offensive numbers, because if I'm not mistaken, Tom, I think we were last in offense last year and 9th in defense, and hopefully we can improve on those numbers.
Are you going to have to play a 5-guard system with these guys out? Jason, Swan, and
Todd, right now we're thinking about playing a 4-guard system and Coach McGee. We have actually opened up the walk-on tryouts, I think, once again. And we laugh about that, but guys, that's the truth. I mean, we are actively right now still searching for somebody that we can have, hopefully to help us on the practice floor, hopefully to help us possibly in a game. We can't absorb much more. There was a movie called Hope Floats, and I remember when the elderly lady in the movie says, and I wish I could remember her name, but she says, "My cup runneth over." And I've kept thinking about that every day. I like to walk back and forth from home to practice and to go home after work, and my cup runneth over.
What have you been most encouraged by so far in the practices?
Well, I've been encouraged by a lot of things. I mean, and it doesn't just have to do with practice. I'm encouraged by our university. Wherever I go, everybody says, "Hi, Coach, we're ready for the season." I'm encouraged by what our football team's doing. I'm encouraged by what our women's volleyball team's doing, because what happens is, you know, it's contagious, Kelly. I mean, when everybody starts winning, it's contagious, and everybody starts speaking a little bit more positive about what's going on in your total athletic department. I'm encouraged by our guys' attitude. I'm encouraged by our guys willing to learn. I've been encouraged. We've had 11 practices, and 9 out of 11 of those have been pretty good. And you know what? That's a pretty good. That's an 89 percentile right now. And I've always believed this. You play like you practice, and you're only as good as your seniors, and your best player's got to be your hardest worker. We've fallen short in some of those categories, but we try to establish that every day as one of our cornerstones.
Obviously, you guys are going to have different rotations, but once you get your team healthy again, what will be some of the problems, or will you have any problems with chemistry?
It's hard to have chemistry problems when you only have 10 guys, because all those guys show up, they know they're going to get to play. Chemistry problem usually comes about when you don't get a lot of playing time. Everybody that suits up this year is going to get a chance to play, and that even considers our walk-on. There's a great chance he's going to get a chance to play. So I don't know how, you know, we had an incident in practice the other day where a guy rolled his eyes and was moping around and pouting, and I said, how in the world could you pout when you know you're going to get to play? That just blows my mind. And I think once we find out that we know everybody's going to get to play, because you look at our squad, Chase Hines most likely is going to be a red shirt. Bola is going to be a red shirt based on the NCAA. So there you go from 13 scholarship players. Now you're down to 11. If you don't get Dantil Daniels back, now you're down to 10. You know, so you know, and that doesn't count anything else. You're at suspension now, which brings us down to 9. You know, everybody's going to get to play. So I can imagine our team chemistry will be extremely exciting, and our travel budget will certainly go down.
Do you sense that the players have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, so to say?
You know, Kelly, I get asked all the time, how do our players feel about me How do our players feel about the upcoming season? I think you ask those guys. I told them yesterday when I met with them, if you don't like me, tell the media. I don't care. I said, there's days I don't like you. I mean, be honest with them. I've told our guys that when they get here today in front of the media, just speak what's from your heart. I mean, be smart, don't be idiots and throw out bold statements or bold predictions. You know, I made a prediction on the floor the other night at Maroon Madness. I don't know how many games we're going to win this year. I don't have a clue. But what I do know is we're going to have guys that represent our university, represent our program, and play their tails off on a nightly basis. And you're going to have a head coach and a staff that when we walk out of that tunnel, that we expect in our preparation to win that game. Because I don't know what else you want. I mean, I've heard it all. You're 10th place. Coach, how are you going to get through this year? You're not going to be very good. You know what? I've heard all that. What do you want me to do? You want me to show up and practice every day and tell our players, hey, we're not going to be very good this year. Let's go out today and be average. Do you do that at your work? Do you try to write a story average? Are you going to put this on tonight, Kelly, and have an average report on TV? No. You're going to try to do the very best that you can. You want to get something that's maybe picked up by the AP. You want to get a clip that's picked up by ESPN or Fox. I mean, I know how that works. And so let's don't be average. And that's the same thing that I tell our fans. You know, we can't be good unless our fans show up. We need our fans. We may need our fans to actually play this year. We don't have enough to play.
How have you tried to energize the fans, Barry?
Just like I just did. I mean, Todd, I hope. I mean, what does a fan want to hear? I mean, you know, I go back. What does a fan want to hear? They want to hear that you love their school. They want to hear that you love your players. They want to hear that you pay respect to the past and those who have come before you. They want to see that you play your tails off. They want to see that you act right on and off the floor. And we've fallen short in that category. I got up in front of our own athletic department and spoke last week, and the first words out of my mouth were, I apologize. I'm ashamed at some of our behavior and how we brought negative publicity to our university and to our athletic program. It bothers me. But I want you to know and understand this now. That's not what we expect in any way, shape, or form. We expect to get up every day and to represent Southern Illinois University, not only as an athletic department, but as a university and as an academic program. And I think, Todd, the only thing that I go around here and tell our fans, and it's the same thing that I'm going to tell you, and I believe this, it happens from our staff, it happens from our radio personalities, it happens from the TV, it happens from our student newspaper, it happens from our chancellor, from our athletic director, from our fans, and this is what it means. Anything out of our mouths that's less than positive about our university, you can edit this. Anything less than positive out of our mouths about our university or our athletic program is 100% unacceptable. So how do you get your fans riled up? How do you get people to talk positive about your program? How do you get people to be excited about what's going on with football, what's going on with volleyball, what's going on academically? I think that's the first step. Can I have an amen?
Amen. Well, no. Can you talk about the development of Breyer and Drinker? You know, since you started, they're going to have to play bigger roles for you this year.
Yeah, they're going to have to play a lot bigger roles. They're going to knock it off. I'm sorry, I got a little excited. And here's the time right here in case you guys forgot what time it is. Was that look to kind of like Coach gonna bang on this again? I read body language real good, Chris. What was the question, Todd? I just had a relapse. I'm thinking about my wife looking at me when I do something stupid. I would say right now Antonio Breyer's made the most improvement of any of our big men that we've had on the floor because he's had the opportunity to be out there on a consistent basis. Antonio Breyer will go from virtually playing no minutes last season to being our starting center when we open up the season on Saturday night. Devontae is really struggling with his feet. It's been well documented that he's had a lot of injuries with his feet. He continues to make improvement, but that's limited improvement based on his health.
Is he old enough to play this weekend, you think?
You
at
know
this
what,
point?
I hope so, I hope so. You know, we're planning on it, Todd. I mean, one thing you guys will find out about me with injuries, I don't play possum. If they're hurt, they're hurt. I mean, I don't gain an advantage by, and we're gonna release it when they are and all this. If they're hurt, they're hurt. I don't play possum with that. If there's no reason to do that. We don't gain an advantage by that at all.
You altered the way you practice at all because of
Yeah.
numbers besides
We really
Coach
have, Gary.
McGee?
We really have. Yeah, I told you, Coach McGee, I was a little concerned with him yesterday in shell drill. I thought we were gonna have to call him some. We do have an oxygen tank right there on the corner of the facility today to help Coach McGee. We were gonna practice Coach Shaw, but we're not ready to guard Coach Shaw just yet. We're not good enough defensively. So until we get better, we're not gonna put Matt out there because we certainly don't need to get our butts whipped by a manager